Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jeff, and before I get started, I want to say thank you to all of you kind, good people who have liked, subscribed, left comments. I do appreciate that a lot. Being a new YouTuber, it's tough to know whether your information is being appreciated, connected with, liked. So I do really sincerely appreciate that. So in this video, I'm going to be speaking about something that happened regarding the Vero stuff. Like, I didn't get a Vero, but I did get some interesting information that I'm going to share with you. And then I'm also going to show you what sold today. And I think that's just about it. Last week, maybe, I had picked up some old Scientology seminar cassette, tapes, I guess. They're in like a binder, and they have like a workbook. So would have been something. I think it was from the 80s. So I picked up 3 of them. I'm not into Scientology. But I like to sell kind of obscure stuff. And I know, webinar information and information like that can't be readily found, or, in this case, I felt that it probably couldn't be readily found, or that it just would have been cool, like a cool piece for somebody who is into Scientology to maybe pick up. I did see some listed, and I think I saw some closed sales. It's not something that's going to sell, anytime soon, but I do just genuinely like selling obscure stuff. But after I listed them, I got to thinking that, so one of the things that it's good to think about when you're listing things is intellectual property. Like the second Vero that I got was on like a card game, which I never would have thought would have been anything. I'm still in amazement about that. But, I thought Scientologists, I thought, okay, maybe they're like very protective of their information. And it kind of freaked me out. So I took the listings down, and I was like, okay, I'm going to contact eBay one of these days. And I just had a super busy weekend. And I know their Vero department, for me being on the West Coast, they like close early, like at 1 or 2. And I'm not that early of a riser. Normally, when I get up, I got work I've got to do. So, and like I said, this whole weekend was just nuts with garage sailing. So I was on the phone with eBay regarding another matter, which isn't really worth discussing. So then, and I actually had to ask for a supervisor because I just was not getting through with this person regarding the first issue. Again, it turned out to be a non-issue, so not worth talking about. So the supervisor, I asked her to connect me to the Vero department. She says, well, maybe I can help you. They're like the gatekeepers, right? But I will give this particular agent credit. She was amazing. She was just so helpful, so willing to help me. She was going back and forth between, I'm guessing, the Vero department. So first off, I got a really valuable piece of information today that I just never thought about because until now. So I had 3 of those seminar things listed. And I thought to myself, what if I listed them and didn't think to take them down? And they were found to be, in the Vero program, and they reported it, and I had my listings taken down. Would I get 3 Veros, or would I get 1? Now, I did get a definitive answer for that, and I did get the reference number for the call. So if anything ever happens, I can refer to this reference number, something you always need to do. I'm going to say this every single time, because if I can help one person to get that reference number so you can cover your own butt, it's worth it. So the answer is you get 1, which kind of surprised me. It's also kind of the way that it should be, because if you're doing something you don't know but you do it multiple times, I thought it should be 1. Now there is another workaround to that. So let's say that you would have gotten 3. Well, what I would have done was I would have created one listing, put them all inside one listing, and then do a multi-item listing. So that would have been the way to get around it if they would have come back and say you would get 3 Veros. So anytime in this scenario, if you were listing something that you were a little unsure, then do like a multi-item listing. Okay, so I'm asking them, I'm like, okay, I'm explaining what I got, and I'm like, so is it okay to list these? So she went back, talked to somebody, came back to me, and initially she said, yes, I could. I'm protected because of they said. But then I said, okay, so I have 2 other listings that are the same basic product, but just a different seminar. Is it okay to list those? Can you vouch for that, or should you go back to whoever you're speaking to and then say it, and then ask them? So she did that. Then she came back, and then she pretty much gave the standard answer. She was like, so there is a risk if you list these. And I'm like, okay. They're like, if the owner of the material does report, then you will get a Vero. And I'm like, she's like, but you can contact them. Like, so she's like, you can contact L. Ron Hubbard. And here's what she said. And the reason I'm telling you this story, so you can apply this information towards like another company or another person whose material you might want to list, if you have any doubts. She's like, you can contact him and let it, once 2 days go by that you have, this is the first I've ever heard of this. She's like, if 2 days go by and they haven't responded to you, you can contact eBay. eBay will then try to get in touch with them. You give eBay 2 days to do that. And if they don't respond to eBay, then you can list it, and without any fear of any kind of Vero. Now, obviously this is like a lot of work. And I guess you must really want to list something, but you know, I had already bought these webinar thingies. So I'm like, you know, I don't want to just sit on them, and I don't really have another outlet, you know, to sell them. So that as she's talking, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is L. Ron Hubbard even alive? So I Google it, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, this guy's been dead since the mid 80s. So then I say to the representative, I'm like, well, he's actually not with us anymore. She's like, oh. She's like, well, then you can list it. And I'm like, what about like the umbrella of Scientology that could possibly claim that information as theirs? Can they do that? She's like, no, they can't. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, well, thanks. I'm like, and again, like I said, I had the reference number, so I was a little kind of not worried about it. But then also in the meantime, I actually did contact Scientology as well. I filled out the form. Luckily, it was like a really brief form. Basically said I picked these things up, and that, you know, they're not for me, and I want to resell them on eBay. Is it okay? And let me read to you the response that I got back from them. I was really super surprised, like, that they got back to me within 2 hours. I actually thought that was kind of cool. They're like, hi, Jeff. They belong to you, so it's up to you what you want to do with the materials. And then he says, have you ever done any auditing? This is where Scientology really shines. You should check it out. Best. Now, I applaud him for getting back with me. I also applaud him for trying to, you know, get me to look into Scientology further. I'm not surprised by that. But, yeah, I mean, you can sell Scientology stuff. So, not that, you know, I'm saying go out and do that, but if you ever come across anything old and it looks cool and you think that, you know, that there could be a market for it, you can sell it. All right, manga. Ottoman by Sojo Beat. This sold for $13 plus shipping. Not familiar with this at all, but I will say, if there's anybody out there that's into kind of like the Squid Game type genre, there's a really, really amazing show called Alice in Borderlands that's based on not this manga, but another manga on Netflix. It just, season 2 dropped a couple months ago. Phenomenal series. Like, I think it's better than Squid Games, to be honest with you. Just amazing character development, awesome storyline, keeps you really guessing. Yeah, I don't know what made me even think of that, but Alice in Borderlands is amazing. Kind of sticking on the same manga-ish thing, Dark Side Blues VHS, with so from the creator of Vampire Hunter D and Demon City Shinjuku, which I know are mangas as well. I believe this sold for $13 as well, plus shipping and handling. I think it's a pretty cool cover, actually. Lots of media today. I mean, not. It's actually really slow. This time of year sucks. Over the Garden Wall. It's a kids comic. I think it's based on a. I can't remember if this is based on a show, but I used to have a bunch of these #1 issues that were in really, really high grade, and they sold for like, I think anywhere from $40 to $70. This sold for $23. I thought it was funny because lots of times when I get offers, I like to, because I have so much stuff, I like to locate it first before accepting it. It's a little strategy of mine in terms of like just the way I price things. I almost want people to come in with offers because, you know, the way eBay penalizes us for selling things and not being able to find them is just ridiculous. So he made an offer for $20. I checked my phone and I was like still in bed and still going to sleep for like another couple hours. And by the time I woke up, he must have just got nervous and was like, I'm just going to buy it. So that happens more times than not. I always think it's pretty funny. The H.P. Lovecraft's The Dunwich Horror. It's a 5 comic set, complete set. This sold for, I believe it was $31 or $33 plus shipping and handling. Horror sells so well. Comics, anything horror. Like it's kind of like heavy metal in the music. Anything heavy metal will sell. So it's always good to pick anything up like that. And then the only other thing that had sold was all right, I'll take it out. It's just it's a purse. It's a Michael Kors purse. I'll show you. This was my daughter's partner. She just basically didn't want it anymore. And she always has some really nice stuff. And I told her, I'm like, do not go to the thrift store and donate anymore. Like, you bring it to me and then I'll donate out of it what I think is donatable. That sold for $33 plus 15 shipping. It's got some kind of makeup, some sort of makeup kind of blew up inside it. It's got like some condition issues, but I was so happy to get rid of that. Like I'm not in it for anything, so it's all pure profit. Actually kind of like packaged it, got a label on it. I wanted to save it for the video, but I wanted to get a label on it so it, you know, in theory, it's basically could kind of like shipped, because I just wanted that purse gone. So other than that, slow day today. I've just been listing. I was on phone with eBay for a good fair bit, but you know, I look at it like it's good to actually try to get through to the Vero department or have them get through and kind of get, it's always good to get questions answered, and it demonstrates that you are trying to be like a good eBayer on their behalf. Everything is documented, so it's just good. It's good practice. So if you ever have any questions, you know, I recommend calling them, kind of getting familiar with their department. I know it sucks, but until that whole department is overhauled, and I don't know if it ever will be, we have to work with what we've got. So Talk to you guys later. Have a good night.